Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to the Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Today, our guest is Tommy. Tommy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Qasim. I'm glad to be on the podcast. This is exciting.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you, Tommy. So, let us know what you do and where you live.
Sure. So I'm in Alexandria, Virginia, and I run a TikTok Shop partners agency. So basically, I help product brands launch and scale on TikTok Shop. And as a full service agency, we handle 5 main categories, which is affiliate management, short video management, shop operations and management, paid media, and live video services. So building that agency, Cult Content is the name of it, and trying to help as many brands along the way and fulfill their missions.
Awesome. Well, that's great. So, let us know what are your core responsibilities, because a founder may have a lot of responsibilities, but what are your core responsibilities?
Yeah, so I feel like my responsibilities are sort of all over the place just because ultimately it's to make the whole system work, both internally for team members, but then also externally for, for my clients. Like we have to be generating results, and you have the affiliate piece too. Like you need to be getting results for affiliates, which results in having all of those systems work and having everyone sort of in the right workflow is really tricky. And it's tricky for me sometimes to know exactly what I should be doing. And it changes all the time. One week it's like, okay, I got to focus on client acquisition and, be in my CRM, making calls, hopping on sales calls. The next week it might be, dialing more fulfillment and figuring out what are these, hurdles that we have to overcome to actually get results for clients.
Yeah, this completely makes sense. Only founders can do this. Every week they have different sort of job. So let me know, what was your biggest inspiration behind starting this business? Because every business do have a why. So what was your biggest why?
So I'd always been very entrepreneurial. When I was younger, when I was like 15 years old, I started a pallet furniture business. And so I was taking apart shipping pallets and I was selling them at a farmer's market in DC. And then I sort of got into, I was also selling them on an online store. And then I got into a print on demand with Etsy. So I had like a print on demand Etsy store, and that was doing that for a little bit. I got into sales. I was working, a lot of different businesses. But then ultimately when I started doing the TikTok stuff, it was really just short video at the time when I got into it, and I wanted something that I could do from anywhere. So because I moved into a school bus, and so I traveled in my school bus, which I had bought with a friend, and then I was doing that from there, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I want to see how far I can take this. And so originally I started off just sort of as freelance work, where I was editing the videos, I was making the content for brands, and then I was like, okay, I want to take this agency route. And so that's sort of when I made that shift about a year and a half ago when I really tried to do it. And yeah, it's just ever since then, it's been like my way to impact the world and help so many people too. Like I realized somewhere along the way why I'm actually doing it is because I think it's sort of natural as a marketing agency. It's easy to be like, oh, I'm doing it for the money, or we got to do it to hit the revenue goals, or, whatever it is. But then what does that actually look like? Where's the meaning behind that? And it's like, I'm in this business to fulfill the missions of my clients. If I have a client who has a product that they're really passionate about and that they think is helping people live healthier, happier lives, like it's a supplement or, it's a beauty product or whatever it is, they really genuinely believe in it so much that they've made it part of their mission in life, then I'm supporting them with my agency to make their mission and their dream come true. And that's really what I've found to be the biggest motivating factor within my work at Cult Content.
Well, that's great. So, tell me, in terms of onboarding new clients or the client acquisition process, we can say, how you do the new client acquisition? Do you do the marketing for yourself as well? Obviously, you are doing this for others, but are you doing marketing for yourself as well? Or there is some other way, just email market? You're doing just email marketing, digital marketing, TikTok marketing, from where you are getting the clients?
Yeah, so I've had a lot of different client acquisition systems, I guess. When I first started out, I was a freelancer and I was getting jobs off of Upwork but that just I didn't think was very scalable for the agency model that I wanted. And I tried Facebook ads, and so I put ads out and spent a ton on ads and put those systems in place. I closed some business off of it. Then I tried LinkedIn, like mass sort of LinkedIn outreach, got some results. And right now I'm actually working with a company. So I use Go High Level. And so they're switching over my whole like Go High Level, getting the Snapchat, doing all that. And they're going to manage my whole basically website, and then they're putting email marketing systems in place, and they're really helping me out too. The company is profitable. I love those guys.
Awesome. So, Tommy, everybody faces challenge. In fact, we can say every business owner faces a lot of challenges. Every day there's a new challenge. Can you share one challenge with us, and like that is more interesting, or maybe you think that was the biggest hurdle or biggest challenge? And can you let us know how you were able to cope up with it?
Yeah, so I think honestly, like the biggest challenge for me, and a lesson that I had to keep learning was patience. Where it's like you get into the business and you think like, oh, like I've got this mental map, and it's like 2 months from now, it's all gonna come together, and I'm finally gonna be able to buy my dream car. And whatever it is, we have this sort of external result in mind. When those 2 months go by, or when those 12 months go by, then you're like, oh dang, that didn't come true. It's easy to sort of like beat up on yourself for that. And so I think the biggest challenge for me has just sort of been learning to like overcome that almost like results oriented mindset into a mindset that's more about like, what can I do? And is also just more patient too, knowing that like what I'm building, takes time, and like for every entrepreneur, it takes time. Anything that's worth building is going to take a while to really see like the fruits of, and you have to really enjoy that building aspect in order to like be patient enough to just like and trust every day to just like keep going.
Makes sense. Completely makes sense. Awesome. So, in terms of again, let's talk about the client acquisition process. So, when you obviously there are multiple processes. First, you find the qualified prospects, then you reach them, then mature lead, then you onboard your clients. So, what's the process of last thing, like onboarding of your clients? Is there any eligibility criteria that you can take only this type of clients? So if there's any eligibility criteria, and also what you do to onboard a new client.
Yeah, so generally the criteria that we're looking for in a client is obviously they have to be selling a product that is right for TikTok Shop. And so that's generally something that's within a $30 to $60 price range. That's something I work with a lot of brands that are in like the supplement or beauty niche, tends to be sort of like where my strong suits are. And then they have to be able to like, it is expensive to launch on TikTok Shop. There's a lot that goes into it. And so they have to be able to afford it. That last step is really, go through a client, we'll hop on a call, we'll go through everything. We'll talk about every dollar that's being spent and where it's being spent on. We'll set budgets for stuff like affiliate retainers. Obviously, you got to have your commission rate set. You've got to, I like to plan your offers. So like if we're going to do some type of product bundle, we have that set up before we launch. And the last step really is they just submit a form on my website. And then this is something I've been working on recently that I'm excited about, is like tied into Lark, if you're familiar with Lark. And it basically creates all the tasks that my team needs to do and assigns them to people so that we have like a super seamless launch.
Makes sense. So in terms of success, how you measure your success? Because there are a lot of ways to measure your success, for sure. And one of the easiest way is to understand what is your revenue or what is your profit. So you can understand your success with the numbers of profit or the revenue. So do you have some other elements other than these numbers? Do you have some other elements that are being used for measuring the success?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I have a saying that I sort of live by, which is celebrate your inputs. It's less about like the revenue, because obviously that's like the number one thing that you can look at, and like it's sort of the most raw data on that, right? Where it's like, okay, are my ads performing? Look at the numbers. What is the ROI? And then you get a pretty good idea in terms of like that financial success. But the way that I think about success is really more about like what I'm doing and like the actions that I'm taking. Because if I've got like anytime I've got a day and it's a whole lot of stuff to do in that day, lots of different meetings, lots of different tasks, and I get it all done, that's a successful day. And so for me, it's always really more about like inputs. And then again, like I can track that pretty well now using Lark, and I can figure out like, okay, this is where I'm falling short, or this is where I need to put more of my attention towards, and that kind of thing.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So, can you let us know what are your differentiators? Because obviously there are a lot of competitors in the market. So, do you have some differentiators from the market, and what are those differentiators?
So I would say the biggest differentiator that I have to the other like full service TikTok shop agencies would be my sort of background knowledge in short form content. So when I got started, I've been making videos for product brands for like 3 years, and I've generated 50 million views for my clients, just like videos that I made. And so learning that sort of aspect of TikTok, because ultimately it's an entertainment aspect first, it's an entertainment platform first. And so you have to have that, a lot of strategy to really engage the customer, to engage viewers, to go viral. And then you also have to sort of keep that contained where you want to be going viral within the right audience, that right, core customer audience, which is a really sort of tricky line to walk. Don't want to go too viral. Don't want to go, get too many views. Also don't you still have to make it entertaining. And so that's something that I've learned just through experience, through creating thousands of videos. But I would say that that's probably the biggest thing. And I've also been within the TikTok shop like world since before it even started. Like I was making videos for product brands on TikTok before TikTok shop rolled out. So I've seen sort of the whole story so far. I've been involved with it. And I've been learning to build that sort of perfect system, figure out every lever that needs to be done. So I've just been in the game for a lot longer than my competition has as well.
Awesome. That completely makes sense. All right. So, can you guide us about your short-term and long-term goals? Because I'm not sure when we map the short-term and long-term goals on TikTok Shop, how it may look like. I'm not even able to visualize it, how we can set up these goals. So, what are your goals? You can tell us your short-term goals, like what you're going to do within next 3 to 6 months for your business. On the other hand, let me know, do you help your clients to set their short-term or long-term goals? I mean, your clients.
Yeah. So for my goals specifically, like within my agency, I mean, I would like to get one of my clients to 100K a month. That would be very nice. And so I think that that's certainly within the realm of possibility because people are pulling much crazier numbers on TikTok Shop. And in terms of goals, like for my clients and setting those goals, a lot of it comes down to like what they're sort of willing to put in. But what we do is our contract length is 3 months. And in that first like few weeks, we have goals like sort of an onboarding phase. And I mean, ideally, we do all of that before. And then we have sort of a launching phase where we are setting up Reacher. So we use Reacher as our affiliate outreach tool. There's other ones out there like Yuka or Uptick. We set up Reacher. We also create a ton of affiliate resources. So scripts, flyers. We create a lot of like flyers to be posted in school groups. And then the goals ultimately, then it becomes sort of a number of like how many affiliates are you meeting with for the client to sign on content like contracts. So there's sort of it's a dynamic process through these 3 months where we're starting booking calls with affiliates. We're doing everything sort of on that affiliate side. Once we have content, then a goal might be to launch GMV max ads. And then you might have like a target ROI that you want to hit as a goal. So you're shooting for a 2x or a 3x within the first 2 months or 3 months of launch, which would be really good just to sort of get product moving. There's other things that we'll do as well, depending on the client's budget. Like there's a platform called Celico where you can launch on TikTok Shop. They've got like a TikTok Shop launch pad where essentially you can place initial orders, which then when customers go to the product page, they'll see the number of units sold. So that's a big sort of factor in their decision process. And so we can place those initial orders, build a little bit more trust with the customer. Also helps to build trust with affiliates. And that's something that, again, would happen in that sort of launching phase. So there's a lot of different goals. And again, like my goals are very much task oriented. Are we doing what we say we're doing? Are we fulfilling on, because it's at the end of the day, it's like a matter of if you do the tasks, you'll get the result. And so I think that it's like really just, can we do everything for our client and how quick can we do it to have the most seamless launch possible?
Makes sense. Awesome, Tommy. It was great. So, can you please give us your biggest piece of advice for our audience? And our audience is, again, the entrepreneurs who are struggling with the challenges, or they are like the new entrepreneurs who are still dreaming to be their own boss.
I mean, if you're a product brand, definitely get on TikTok Shop. That's my advice. TikTok Shop's the best place to launch a product right now. If you are just sort of more of like a general entrepreneur or like you're not in a product, like selling a product, honestly, just stick with it. Find people who have done exactly what you are trying to do. And I think that is a piece of advice that I used to hear all the time. And I was like, oh yeah, like, sure, I'm trying to do that, whatever. But like, genuinely, there is someone out there doing exactly what you are doing. You might not even believe it. Like, for a while, I thought I was like the only one who was like doing what I'm doing and the way that I'm doing it. And like, sure, that might be true to some degree. Everyone's got their own story or whatever. But like, when I found other TikTok shop agency owners and people to talk to in the space, people who I could compare my strategy with, that is totally game changing and does so much more for you than you will realize. So whatever it is, like if you're a real estate agent and you're trying to, make it work as a real estate agent, find a realtor who's done it before, who's gotten the 6-figure months, because they're ultimately going to have the information that you need the most, and then just listen and learn from them. So
Awesome. That's a beautiful advice. So, Tommy, at the end, please let us know how our viewers can reach you. You can share your website, your social media handles, whatever you want to share.
sure, yeah. So if you look up Tommy Lynch on either like TikTok or Instagram, I should be one of the first ones to come up. I got the blue check mark, so just look for that. And I guess Cult Content, www.cultcontent.cc is the website. So you can check that out. I've got a bunch of YouTube videos, free resources. We go through like my whole strategy. You could copy, paste it, steal it, put it in your own TikTok shop. It's worth it.
Awesome. Like you're saying you're welcome to steal my strategy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's free. I don't believe in competition. I think that it's an open market, especially TikTok shop. Anyone who wants to make it work can make it work.
Awesome. That's great. So, well, Tommy, thank you. Thanks for joining us today. I really enjoyed the conversation and I hope we will stay in touch.
Thank you, Qasim. Likewise.
Thank you, Tommy. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too.